Hey there. So I wanted to do a quick video about the band The National and talk about why I love them. Um, there's no planning for this video whatsoever. Nor do I aim at that. This is not going to be a critique of The National or any of their music. I mean, I'll give my opinion on stuff, but it's not meant to be like a critique, like as in I'm rating their music or anything. I just want to talk about what I like about them. If there's things I don't like about it, um, just generally talk about why I've fallen in love with this band. Who I kind of only started actually really checking out. I'd say about a month or so ago. A month or two. So, funnily enough, they were actually supposed to play in Detroit. Well, Sterling Heights last night in Michigan, which is where I'm at. I'm southeast Detroit area, downriver suburbs. And I wanted to go, but unfortunately did not have the money to be able to know that I would be able to get there and back. I just didn't have any emergency funds if anything happened, and I just didn't want to risk it. Things have been pretty bad financially, so I just kind of stayed home yesterday and listened to them a little bit. Of course, other bands and artists too that I love. I've been checking out Jamie XX, which I know I'm very late to the party on that one as well. At least not 20 years late like the National, but whatever. Yeah, he's fantastic. I assume it's a he, and one guy, but whatever. Back to the National. So I grew up listening to a lot of quote unquote indie rock. That term, we can make a whole video about that term. Personally, I look at indie rock at this point as an aesthetic, because functionally that's the best way to use it. Because if you go by the independent thing, then you're just going to get into things where people identify indie rock with stuff Bon Iver or even the Strokes. But to consider them independent bands with no major label backing, there's so many videos on YouTube already talking about that, and I just don't care about that. Frankly, to me, it's bullshit. And shit, I don't even know if I'm even allowed to swear on YouTube. I honestly don't really watch YouTubers very often. I mean, I do sometimes, but I don't know, maybe they just don't curse as much as I do. I work in a warehouse and I have a pretty bad potty mouth. Anyway, I consider the indie rock to be more of an aesthetic, and honestly more so defined by things that it's really not. You don't hear breakdowns in indie rock, you would hear in metalcore or something, and generally you don't hear too much rap, although they do incorporate hip-hop, and there's obviously indie hip-hop and that type of stuff. But I think when you think of indie rock, it's a pretty good idea of what you got. I mean, you can even call Tame Impala, indie, at least adjacent. I mean, clearly Kevin Parker had inspiration from both indie acts and of course the 60s acts, which he references a lot. I don't know if he, I don't know much of what Kevin Parker listens to, but obviously he's probably listened to the Beatles quite a bit. Fucking Inner Speakers literally sounds like a fucking John Lennon album. Mid late 60s John Lennon in the beat. What the hell am I talking about? That doesn't even make any sense. Anyway, back to the National, we were trying to talk about. See, no script. Surprised if none of you guys have even clicked off the goddamn video yet. Anyway, the National, why are they important, and why am I talking about 4.5 minutes into the video? Well, I'm not going to answer that latter part because that's just, it's just me rambling. But what makes the National so good? I mean, they just really kind of, I guess it's just a lot of nostalgia for me because I've surely heard a lot of their songs in the background, and when I listen to them, when I've listened to like Abel, like I could tell I've heard like that line before, you know, my mind's not right, and my mind's not right. Sorry, I'm not a good singer whatsoever, so excuse me for whenever like I get into that. Or even like The System Only Dreams in Total Darkness, that one line where he goes, I can't explain it all any other way. You know, that's I think I remember hearing that before. And you know, I Need My Girl. You know, so okay, so there's like it sounds like quintessential indie rock to me. You know, I mean, a lot of their tracks, you know, remind me, especially on stuff off of Trouble Will Find Me, or even, you know, like Daughters of the Soho Riots off of Alligator. You know, the guitar line picked in there reminds me a lot of like stuff you'd hear off of Bon Iver's self-titled album, and whatnot. And then, you know, they're more high energy tracks, like I Need My Girl, or Don't Swallow the Cap, just, you know, remind me more of like the electronic, like indie type stuff, you know, which I've always loved as well, you know, stuff like Foster the People, Crystal Castles, Passion Pit, although of course, where the National's going is a little bit more somber and, minor chord, I guess, minor key, yeah, music theory, I don't, you know, I know a little bit of music theory, but not too much. At least I know enough to functionally get by in bands, kinda. Excuse me for sipping my drink while talking about this band, as I get nervous trying to think of, like, you know, because there's so much, you know, for one, almost, you know, so many of their songs, like the instrumental itself, like has at least one or two like good hooks in them, so they're gonna make you like it stick in your ear. And you know, like they're I don't even know what's considered a deep cut with them, because I'm still fairly new to them, and you know, people are gonna be like, oh, Lemon World's not a deep cut, you idiot, or fucking what else has a really good instrumental? Okay, one I haven't seen many people talk about is the first track off of I think it's High Violet. No. Well, High Violet I think starts with Terrible Love. Yeah, I should have printed out like some sheets of Terrible Love is great, but what is the one off of Trouble Will Find Me that it starts off with? I Should Live in Salt. My God, dude. The way, like, the guitar starts off, it's so, like, Pink Floyd, kinda. And just Matt Bernier, I mean, you know, I wasn't totally sold on his vocals, like, the first few times I listened to them, but, you know, listening more and more, and, not just, you know, at first you're like, oh, this guy can only sing up and down 2 or 3 notes. I think I read that in like a fucking Rate Your Music comment before, or review. But no, I mean, he has actually a pretty decent range. I mean, he doesn't go crazy, but I don't doubt he could either. I don't think it's from like a lack of skill that like he stays in the range that he does. I'll say that, because watching live videos, he's a very capable singer and whatnot. And, you know, it's nice to have that lower baritone kind of register in this type of stuff. I mean, because, come on, listen to Phoenix. Listomania, dog, you know? That stuff is, like, way up there, you know? On his, like, high notes, I'm, like, right up in my falsetto trying to sing along, you know? And honestly, I can't even tell when singers are using their falsetto or just head voice. That's hard. Yeah, I can't even fucking tell, to be honest with you. But what else? Like, you know, the National, they're just, the first song I had ever heard by them was Fake Empire. And it wasn't even like the original studio version. I'm actually so glad it wasn't. Not that the studio version is bad, but I heard the Letterman, you know, when they did it on Letterman, I think back in, well, probably when it came out, 2007. God, which is 17 years ago at this point. Blew my goddamn mind. It reminded me a lot of Arcade Fire, but not entirely. And I know they get that comparison a lot. And look, Arcade Fire is one of those bands where, like, when I say I used to listen to, like, indie rock back in, like, high school and teen, you know, that was what I listened to. You know, The Suburbs was one of my favorite songs growing up. I would listen to them, Modest Mouse. You know, that was more so the type of indie rock, or indie, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Them, Foster the People, you know, that type of stuff. The more, well, Modest Mouse isn't always upbeat either. Although I really gravitated towards their very, like, atheistic and, kind of, religion mocking lyrics. Although now as I get older, I don't know exactly how much Isaac was really mocking religion. I mean, like, I don't think it's as simple as he was just mocking religion, because obviously there was humor in it and whatnot, in like Styrofoam Boots or doing the cockroach. But, you know, he wouldn't have used all the imagery if he didn't see, like, there being something in there, I don't think. Anyway, enough talking about Modest Mouse. Let's talk about the fucking National. You know, so, Fake Empire, just incredible song, and just with lyrics that, you know, are very hitting these days, because I think, you know, pretty much everyone's woken up to the fact that, America's just one big fucking corporation. And look, I don't want to get into talk about, like, communism and, like, capitalism and that kind of stuff, but there are people who are rigging the fucking system, and, like, this fake empire really does only serve the interests of very few people. And yes, there are ways you can pull yourself up, but, look, read some Mark Fisher, okay? Just, read Mark Fisher, read some fucking... Oh, actually, I don't even read that goddamn much, so I can't recommend too many other, at least contemporary theorists. But anyway, that's a whole conversation for a different thing. We're talking about the National, not the fucking, not our fake empire. But that whole album, Boxer, oh my God. Okay, so that was like, so my second exposure after seeing them, seeing the SNL clip. I saw one live video of them, like a really old one, and that one was starting to hook me, but it really took listening to the album Boxer, like, in full. That really clicked me. I remember I was walking through the grocery store just listening to it, you know, Fake Empire hits. I remember liking Mistaken for Strangers a lot. I thought the chorus was extremely hooky and, like, very good. And, you know, that showered and blue blazered, fill yourself with quarters, you know, is so goddamn cool. Like, it's almost a fucking Frank Sinatra track, really, bro. Not even just in, like, the aesthetics, but yes, in the aesthetics too. Fucking hell, man, that shit is so good. I can't believe anyone's still probably fucking listening to me rambling about this shit for 14 minutes. Anyway, fucking, like, you know, Green Gloves, hit, pretty good, like, the first time I heard it. I wasn't that big on Brainy. I still think it's one of the weaker songs on the album, but the fact that it's a weaker song is kind of funny because it's extremely catchy. And it does have a good hook. Maybe I should follow you around. Brainy, brainy, brainy. I'm sorry, it is kind of a stupid fucking song, but it's so goddamn fun to listen to and sing along to. But what really got me, I'll tell you this, is Slow Show. And I'm sure I'm not the only person where that was like really where they were like, oh my God. Because, well, for one, talk about a track. Okay, that opening guitar line on the acoustic, the that shit, it's just great. And like the way he comes in with the vocals, it's just, the whole thing's got a great melody. The verse, and the second verse is so good when he talks about, I gotta get my shit together, gotta gather my shit. Like, it's not even clever, but it's honest and it works. Obviously the chorus, besides like the melody, it's just so sentimentally good. And honest, why not have a fucking cute girl to like, come home and put a slow show on, or a guy, or whatever you might be into. Your partner. It's such a sweet song for that. And then like that wasn't even until, and I want to highlight one lesson before I get to the outro. That one line in the second verse where he says, you could drive a car through my head for 5 minutes from one side of it to the other. I read a Rate Your Music comment, and I know I bring that up a lot, but fucking hell, I don't know anyone who listens to these guys in person, so all I have to do is like go off of anonymous internet people to know what other people think about these guys. And they were like, oh, isn't he embarrassed? Aren't these lyrics kind of cringy for like a 30-year-old to be saying? And it's like, no, I don't think so. It comes off to me as honest and pretty fucking good. I mean, yeah, how much does the thought weigh? How long would it take to drive through your head? Obviously it's not literally, it's a fucking metaphor. Gonna make me go fucking, what is that one character from The Fault in Our Stars? It's a metaphor. I forget his name. And I did read that book. I didn't watch the movie. So I've read 2 books as far as you can tell. Fucking Mark Fisher and John Green. Oh, man. Good thing I'm not a booktuber. But, oh, shit, man. I'm the only one who finds my jokes funny. What else can we talk about with the National? I mean, I haven't listened to too much of their newest stuff. Both because, like, honestly, I've been going off of, like, the stuff that I've seen people call classics first, because I figured that would just be the best place to start. Hear what is considered their best material, which is their classic material. The most talked about albums I hear from them is like basically the 4, Trouble Will Find Me, High Violet, Alligator, and Boxer. And listening to all 4 of those albums the whole way through, I can't think of a bad song on any of them. Like, there's some songs that don't hit as hard, Fireproof, but even that has a great guitar hook. And even the vocal line isn't too bad. It's I've probably heard that in a fucking commercial too. Yeah, I get it. They're one of those bands where like now, because you remember back in like the early 2000s, so commercials would use a lot of like hard rock from the 80s and 90s. At least I'm pretty sure that's what, or I would hear AC/DC a lot in like car commercials. But then in the 2010s and later 2000s, I know I'm kind of going back for the timeline, but you know what I mean? Like, they started putting indie rock in a lot of things. Oh, and post rock too. Don't get me started on what they did to post rock. You can't even listen to Explosions in the Sky anymore without like having that Beethoven effect where you're like, oh, I've heard this in a fucking car, a Kia Sports commercial, or you know what I mean. Yeah, I will never forget them to what they did to post rock. But anyway, back to indie rock. I get it. National makes music that sounds like those fucking commercials, but those commercials only had that music because Well, unfortunately, you know, despite my poverty, I share the same tastes as like fucking hipster yuppies in New York who've been fed silver spoons their whole lives and have never had to work a hard job, you know. Like, I work at a fucking warehouse. I can barely eat. I'm in danger of getting evicted every month. But enough about me complaining about my life. Oh, man. I don't even know if I should upload this because I barely talked about the National. But they're a really great band. You know, we can talk about stuff like Blood Buzz Ohio being one of the greatest, like, just ballads I've heard. I consider it a ballad. That and Pink Rabbits. My God, if there are 2 songs you listen to from this band, I'll make it 3 songs. We got 3 for you. Blood Buzz Ohio, Apartment Story, and fucking hell, what was that other third one I was thinking of? Blood Buzz Ohio, Apartment Story. Oh, and Pink Rabbits. Yeah, I literally just mentioned it. Look, sorry, I'm still tired, which is great because I have work in about 30 minutes. But anyway, I just want to talk about the National a little bit. I recommend those 3 songs. I'm probably going to upload another one where I can talk about them more and in like more detail. Maybe we'll do some song. I mean, I have really no plans for this channel exactly. I just want to honestly make a video talking about the National and see if anyone's gonna like it. So thank you for listening, watching, I guess. Check out the National. They're a fantastic band. Like, if anything else, I just want to, spread the word about good music to some people, because music really helps a lot of people. Fucking, it's helped me, I'll tell you that. Oh, and listen to Don't Swallow the Cap, too. That is a great song. Anyway, thank you guys for watching and whatnot. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe if you want to. I don't care. Have a good one, guys. Bye.